Hey, it's Joe. I recorded this next video back in March, and apparently I've lost my razor that week. So it's been sitting in my files for a while. Just wanted to get it up there. If you want to contact me, go to joeryan.com/links. All right, here we go. It's 60 degrees in New York City. I'm hanging out in Central Park, thinking about being stuck and how to become unstuck. We're all born into some kind of family system. The system should adapt to each individual child, but what happens is the child has to adapt to the system. You're born into it, you're handed a belief system. There's certain ways you matter and there's certain ways you don't matter. And needing mirroring faces to know we're okay, we become what we needed to be to matter, to not feel worthless, to not feel unlovable, to not be shamed. I perfected my family system role, my false self, to the point where I believed it was who I was. I got to a certain point and it just didn't work anymore. I just wasn't happy living that way. I'm always managing my emotions, the people around me, making sure I'm okay. See, I feel worthless inside. I feel unlovable. I feel I have no value. So tell me what you need to be, who you need to be, and I will be that, so I don't feel anything negative and I don't get those mirroring faces that I don't like, those disappointments, the humiliation, the embarrassment, the abandonment. I needed all of that because I didn't have it inside. It was never given to me. It wasn't shown to me. When I got to a certain point where I perfected it and my life was what I thought it was supposed to be, I was unhappy. I couldn't understand why I worked my entire life getting to a certain point and I was stuck because I was in this role. Every time I tried to move out of that role, I went into self-hate. You see, living with self-hate, we need to create that false self. To get out of that false self, we have to go back into the self-hate and learn how to manage that, learn how to talk ourselves through it. We have to start doing the things that we want to do, the things that our soul desires. We have to start living the way we want. But as we do that, we're going to get those serious body reactions, and we'll get that negative, critical parent that lives in our head that shames us and puts us down and stops us from doing what we want to do. Change is not going to happen by sitting there trying to figure it out. You don't think your way out of it, you act your way through it. You have to start getting up and trying different things. Start listening to your soul and not those negative voices in your head, those old tapes that just rattle around in the background that tell you you're not good enough, you're not worth it, what's the point, it's never going to get any better. Stop listening to that voice. Get quiet and start listening to your soul. Start moving out of your role. Start leaving the false self. Go into the hurt. Go into the pain. Go into the humiliation, the abandonment, the rejection, the embarrassment, and start dealing with those feelings. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it's painful. Yeah, it's lonely. Yeah, it's brutal. You feel like shit as it is. Why are you going to put yourself into worse feelings? Because how is avoiding it been doing? Are you where you want to be by avoiding your reality? Get in there and find the truth of your past. Get up every day and do one thing different. I've tried so many different things over the past couple of years, and some of them just did not feel right, but there's others that have felt incredible, and I keep doing them every day, and I get comfortable with them, and they become a part of my life, and then I start reaching for more, further outside of my comfort zone. I stop limiting myself as much as humanly possible. I mean, listen, those thoughts, the negativity for me is always going to be there. It's always going to be a struggle and fight through to get to that next level that I want to get to. But I can't live the life I was living. It was a lie. I was living somebody else's life. I was living a life that somebody else wanted me to live to make them feel better about themselves. I had to shine. I couldn't be a disappointment. There was never anything could be negative. I learned how to live perfect. I wouldn't leave the house unless I had it all together. And that wasn't often, so I spent a lot of time alone trying to armor up and emotionally prepare myself to get out in the world, to not look stupid, to not have judgment, to live it perfectly. The way we live our lives is not perfectly. We make mistakes. We figure it out. We put ourselves in uncomfortable situations to see who we are and how we handle them. And we make the mistakes and we correct them, but we keep moving forward. Sitting there in endless thought, reading, writing, journaling, listening, it can only take you so far. You have to get out in the world and start showing yourself. First, show yourself to you. Figure out who you are, what you want, and go do it. It's so difficult to do this work on your own without the mirroring faces, but so many of us depend on it because we don't know how to fill ourselves up by ourselves from the inside out. We're always filling ourselves from the outside in. It's part of the reason I don't do a lot of videos. I don't put myself out there a lot, is because I have to determine if this is feeding my ego or am I really trying to help myself and help other humans. And for a while there, it was ego, because I felt like a worthless piece of shit, and people telling me that they enjoyed my words and it helped them was like a shot of heroin for me. So I had to pull back. I had to figure out who I was without all of that. And I have to start doing things based on soul and desire instead of ego and narcissism. Because when you don't feel good about yourself, you're looking for any crumb of affection, attention, appreciation, validation. Those are all the things we need to do on our own. When I'm needy and I need to be filled up, the last place you're going to find me is on social media. When I'm filled up and I feel like I have something to offer, that's when I show up. And that's a huge difference, because at one point it just turns into an addiction. I'm feeling like shit about myself. Let me post something and get some attention. There's so many people doing that. It's ridiculous to me how if you're over the age of 25 and you're making a video pointing at words, you look ridiculous. Find out who you are. Stop feeding into big tech and social media and trends and all that bullshit. Find out who you are and live the life you want to live. Come out of hiding. Your story is important to other humans on this planet. People need to... I got you, bro. People need to hear your story. You need to tell your story. Find somebody you trust to start coming out of hiding to. Find a good coach. Find a good therapist. And if they're not working for you, fire them and find somebody else. But don't sit there and think you're going to figure it out. We need human interaction. We need those mirroring faces. It's so important. And if the people around you are not mirroring you the way you want, if you feel like you have to be something you're not just to have these people around you, they're not worth it. Find your worth and value within yourself. You have so much to offer. Just keep digging. It's in there. Start sharing who you are. The world needs people who have gone through hell to start telling their story so that other people on this planet feel safe to come out of hiding and start sharing. This is how we help each other. We experience our past and we explore it, and then we share it so that others don't feel as alone. I'm tired of feeling alone. The most I felt connected to humans is when I started telling my story. It was hard and it was painful, and it's still shameful at points. I'm going to put this out there and I'm going to go into a shame spiral, because it's like, I don't know how it's going to be perceived. I don't know how it's going to be taken. I don't know if anybody's going to get any worth and value out of this. How could I possibly know? I'm talking into a machine. That's why human interaction is so important, so we can have people have empathy and compassion for us and show us a different perspective. Because when we're rattling around in our head and those pathways are etched in our brain, it's really hard to see anything other than the thought patterns that we've had our entire life. So find somebody, journal, record, whatever you need to do to get it out of there. Start understanding who you are and your path, so you can free yourself from the chains of past trauma and abuse and negative thoughts and that negative self-image. You have so much worth and value. Now go find it. Have a great day.